time needed for the typical, very tedious and repetitive manual testing. The generalist tester is going to love this, and finally a tool for them in order to help them with their work. And the last point, keeping pace. In the development world, we're all familiar with extreme programming and agile methodologies. And in the testing world, it has not really kept pace. And so now we have a tool that will be able to be applied in an agile environment for the generalist tester. Now, in the testing world, there are a number of players. There's what I call the generalist testers, the specialists. And the specialists are the ones that have, to this point, received most of the attention. They're the ones that have had tools available for them. They're the folks that would be automation engineers or software engineers in test. And some software developers are also doing the testing, and they're the specialists. They typically have coding skills. They're very expert. They can look at the code itself and determine what is going on. And then you get down more toward the generalist tester, and they're the folks that are doing the bulk of the work. They may be a business analyst. They may be called themselves a functional analyst, a tester, a QA analyst. There's a lot of terms that they go by. But in general, their job is to do manual testing. And we're going to look at them more in depth in session number 2 and what their needs are, what their pains are, and how we can address those folks. And they make up the bulk of the test groups. And the tool that they haven't had, they now have an ability to work with, is Visual Studio 2010, because this tool is directed primarily for the generalist tester. And in my opinion, this is a disruptive technology. This is an opportunity where no other tool has really focused on. And an ability to focus on that specific area is really an opportunity for driving sales of the software. And the majority of the test tools, as noted on the slide, are in the area of the strong scripting skills. And this would be the automated test tools, and we'll get into those in session number 3. But most of the tools have targeted the medium to higher end range for the testing team. And so now with Visual Studio 2010, we have a tool that does the entire spectrum. It does do the higher end with the automation and load and performance generation of tests, as well as the coded UI tests. But it has a brand new interface just for the tester for tracking of defects and bugs, and for doing fast forward and manual testing in a more efficient manner. And that's exciting. And as I said, it's a disruptive element, and it's a terrific opportunity. So here you see a picture, and you may not have seen this layout of the entire Visual Studio suite. Starting at the bottom is the lab management piece. The lab management piece is going to be a vitally important piece for the tester community. And again, just noting that this presentation is geared primarily for the tester community, even though the developer does some testing, and it does in some of the versions of Visual Studio, like the Ultimate version. It incorporates all of the capabilities of Test Professional and the Premium and the Professional versions. But if you look out, and it'd be important to do that, to see the various ways that the Visual Studio is apportioned, just because some of the testing capabilities that have been in the Visual Studio product have now moved over into Test Professional, and some of that have been only in the testing area have moved over into Ultimate. So it'll be important to take a look at that and to get familiarize yourself with which is which. So in Visual Studio 2010, we have a new functionality for the software tester. It's functionality that for the first time that the testers really have a seat at the table. They're now on par with the development team, and they now have a tool that they can use to really be a valuable member of the entire software engineering force. And that in and of itself is one of the best conversations that we'll be able to have with our purchasers and our audience. And so that's a really vital understanding. And what's also exciting, we'll get to this in the third session, is that the cost to quality factor and the cost per defect price for the software compared to what's out there in the marketplace is sensational. And so the other thing is that the software itself has a new testing center, a test manager to manage all defects and test cases and test suites, test plans, and it's designed for the needs of the software tester. And as I said, no longer is it just the developer that will be using the tool, but the software test engineers, the generalists, the specialists have a tool that are specifically designed for their needs. So in summary, here's the 5 leading facets of Visual Studio 2010, the testing innovations. There's an integrated test management for test suites. We're going to be getting into this in much more detail in subsequent sessions, but the integrated test management allows for all of the test artifacts, the test cases, the test execution, the test plans, the strategy documentation, all to be kept in a common repository that will be available for the entire team, whether it be a developer, a tester, a manager, project lead. All those folks will have access to the integrated test management capabilities with very, very strong recording functionality built in for that. The lab management piece is a revolutionary piece. It's without question the ability to create and provision a lab for the development and for the testers to have a common environment is crucial to software quality, and Visual Studio 2010 has a new lab management piece that we'll talk about more in the third session, but is integral to providing the kind of testing quality that we're looking for. The load, web, and testing has always been in Visual Studio. It's been enhanced in version 2010 specifically for the performance, the web testing performance. The manual automated test with a new fast forward and record and playback is a terrific feature, and then the IntelliTrace, which allows the tester to rerun test and to determine which code has been exercised since the last iteration. So those are the 5 primary new features within Visual Studio 2010, specifically as it impacts the software testing marketplace. And they're all very welcomed additions. In summary, the software testing is a growing market segment. It represents a real opportunity for new business and for upgrades for existing business. And it's a business that once you understand, it'll be a ripe market for the sales for new product. Visual Studio 2010 now incorporates testing features needed by the marketplace, and Visual Studio 2010 addresses all the needs for the testers, especially generalist tester. And again, that's a very important concept to understand. It's a disruptive and new element that now the generalist tester has the ability to test right alongside with the developer with a tool that is shared completely across the organization. So that concludes session number 1, and session number 2 will continue with an understanding of the look at the software tester and how we can help them with Visual Studio 2010.
All right, thank you, Michael. This does conclude this session. Thank you for viewing.